Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things could get totally radical. Now today I will be welcoming my first ever psychic medium. Her name is Patti Negri. Patti began as an actress in Hollywood. She was in such classic low budget exploitation movies like Ninja Academy, Dark Harvest, The Evil Inside Me, and Thunder Run. Her first movie was Rocky 3, in which she sang in that movie. Wonder if she started out as a singer. We will find out. And she's primarily known as a psychic medium. I've had a couple of psychic reading encounters over the years that I'd like to bring up to her and stuff. And so it's going to be a very interesting interview, and I can't wait. We had some mutual friends on Facebook, and it's going to be a terrific interview. I think it will be. Today is Chris Farley's birthday. He would have been 57 had he had lived. Rest in peace, Tommy boy. Tommy want wingy. Tommy like wingy. Okay, so yeah, here is my interview with Patti Negri. Hey, Patti, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, how are you today?
I am good so far. It's a perfect day. It's Monday.
Monday.
No tragedies, no disasters. It's a beautiful day here in Southern California. It's good.
Yeah, it's a little overcast weather here in Redding, but it comes and goes.
Yeah, because I have so many friends all over the rest of the country where it's a little chilly.
This is such a great honor. Thank you for taking the time today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, going back in time, everyone knows that you're a psychic medium, but did you gravitate toward acting early on in your childhood?
Yes. I started out very much because I was too shy. My mom put me into dance classes and singing classes and all that. I was a model when I was a teen, actually. I worked with Teen Magazine and all this stuff to get me unshy. And that kind of led into acting stuff, like really like industrial films and educational films, because I was still really young.
Right.
And then I think I rebelled at the ripe old age of 20 or something, going, no, I want to be a nurse. So I took that path for a little while, and seeing myself tap dancing on bedpans in the emergency room knew that maybe that was a wrong turn. And so then I moved back up to Hollywood and started doing that. And my psychic medium side, my witchy side, was always there, but always kept separate, because a few years later, I started my own production company, Brainbrew Entertainment, and very corporate shows. I produced big extravaganza corporate shows that, these people that run this bank or run this big computer company cannot know that, I dance around bonfires, talk to dead people. It just doesn't work. So I kept it very separate for a lot of years, until the big economic crash in 2008. When corporate entertainment became a dirty word and reality television was taking off. It's like, okay. I remember somebody, and I would gladly do acting roles, but not me as Patti. And then somebody said, oh no, we need you to do as Patti, to do a seance on this television show. We need somebody who's legit, who does a good seance. I'm like, nope, can't do it. And they're like, please. I'm like, what is the name of the show? And they go, okay, it's called Mobile Home Disaster, and it's on country music television. I kind of went, well, nobody will watch that. Sure, I'll do it. And I did it and fell in love with the genre. I got to be my cool, medium, witchy self, my let's empower the world self. I liked being on camera. I certainly know about being on camera, hitting marks, what to do, and didn't have to memorize lines. They followed me around with cameras. I fell in love with the genre. It worked because I had a big sketch and improv background, too, and I go, oh, my God, this is great. But that's it. I'm not going to do any more because it just doesn't work with my production company. And then I remember when it aired the first time, I got a call that next morning from one of my biggest national bank clients, I think it was. And she's like, I saw you on TV last night. And I'm like, oh, I'm never going to work in this town again. And she's like, I didn't know you were into the paranormal. I didn't know you were bop up. And I'm like, oh. And it didn't mess up that relationship at all. We had the best, most personal conversation ever, in fact.
Nice.
So I stepped out of the broom closet, out of the psychic closet, and I just decided that that my path just took me on it. You know, the other side, I still have my production company for that matter, but
Nice.
This world has taken over. I don't have much time for that, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Are you born and raised in Long Beach?
I'm born and raised in Long Beach, live in Hollywood now. Yeah, raised actually in Lakewood, since you're a local-ish person. Born in Long Beach, raised in Lakewood. Been up in Hollywood, though, pretty much most of my adult life.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, local girl, local LA girl.
Did you study acting with anybody?
I studied acting with everybody. In the day, oh gosh, I can't even remember. I need to go pull out my old resume. With some of the best teachers, and I'd hop around and voice-wise with the best teachers, and it was great, and I liked it, and I did okay through like the 80s and stuff. But at the ripe old age of 30, I think, I decided I was too old for television. So especially when the kind of roles that I was doing, it's like, oh, you are too old at 30. So I decided, I started my own production company, and I like being on this side of things too. So I never gave up acting, but added this side. And then once I realized being on the producer side, how easy it was. I mean, how the mystery was all gone, the mystique was all gone. I didn't worry about going on interviews anymore, so I got better at that side too. Mm-hmm. It's funny how the universe just kind of drags you along here and there.
Yeah, I talked to people who studied with Milton Casellas and Peggy Fury, and they had all these great classmates ranging from Nicolas Cage to Sean Penn to, God, so many people who went on to have successful careers in those acting classes.
Yeah, no, I think acting school is honestly good for anybody, whether you go for these names and you're hanging out with whoever. I hung out with all sorts of people who went big, and but it's that and improv training, because it just makes people better people. I don't care if you're a banker or you're a housewife. It helps you really, tap into your emotions, a bigger understanding, free a lot of things in you. So everybody go to acting school. It's even take it through your local college or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So how does Rocky III come into your life?
That was one of my first forays into it. Again, after the teen acting thing, it's like, okay, I'm up in town, I'm going to do this. And that was one of my first jobs, and I literally was a glorified extra at first. I was one of the Rocky girls. I was a baby in the little shorts and the little thing, and there was whole bunches of us. I'm going to say there was 100 people, maybe 200 people. I'll exaggerate. And I was one of the Rocky girls. And one of my first films of being of that caliber, my God, huge caliber, and Sylvester Stallone. And it's really funny. One thing I've always thought, and even my mama always told me, Patti, you could do anything you want in the world, except maybe sing. See, I could dance, but my singing wasn't so strong. Also, all of a sudden, Sylvester Stallone goes, okay, I need a backup girl. I need somebody who could back up my brother Frank Stallone in this song. We need the backup girls. And he goes, who can do it? And I was just like, oh, shoot. I just raised my little hand from the back, and Sylvester Stallone comes right over to me. And I'm thinking, oh, shoot, I'm going to go off key. But it was really easy. It was that take it back, baby. But so I was able to do it. And then all the other 200 people raised their hands, and Sylvester Stallone stood by me. He just said, and the other producers, I mean, he was number one producer, said, well, no, you should pick someone who's already got their SAG card. Because that's the big catch-22. Again, you probably know this, not everybody does, in acting, is you can't act without a SAG card, and you can't have a SAG card without acting. So the big hurdle is to get your union card. So, because they have to pay a fine to bring in a new person. Mm-hmm. So, but the producers were like, well, no, pick one of these other 100 people. And Sylvester Stallone stood by me and said, no, she raised her hand first. She is perfect. And so I got my Taft-Hartley is what it's called.
Nice.
So it was pretty cool. And what's hysterical, it's a little tiny role. I'm
Yeah.
singing, and it was Frank. We actually rehearsed and sang most of the day, and then in the final film, as is the way of Hollywood, they actually dubbed a different song over it, that Eye of the Tiger, da da da, instead of our song, which I think is on the album. So it's just little clips of this or that. So it's one of those don't drop your popcorn moments, but I swear that must be one of the most played movies in the world.
Yes.
I get almost weekly residual checks from that movie. I mean, there's a million movies I've done that you don't ever get checks and this and that, and TV shows. I'm starting to get, now that there's all these networks are showing old shows like my old Miami Vice is, hi, I'm getting paid for this again. But Rocky, they play every week all over the world.
Yeah, it's my favorite of the sequels. My dad and we used to watch real life fights by like Mike Tyson or something when I was a kid, and I was bored by them, and I was like, oh, let's watch a boxing movie instead. So we'd make a deal. He's like, we'll watch this fight, and then we'll go rent a Rocky movie or something, and that's what we did. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing. I mean, that's the only time I work with him, but yeah, he directed it, he starred in it, and in between takes, he would like drop to the floor and do 100 push-ups, so his muscles were up. It's like wow,
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Just that his focus ability, if nothing else.
Yeah. Wow. So did you have any singing experience before that? Did you ever want to be a singer?
I never wanted to be a singer. I had anything. I had done a couple of shows. Again, I got involved in drama when I was in high school, and I got chorus stuff. You know, I took a little bit of singing stuff, but I knew it really wasn't my strong suit. I was a tap dancer. I was this. I was that. So, but I think I had done like A Nun and The Sound of Music and a few other things like that. A few original shows, stuff like that. But no, the singing was, my mom's a singer. My mom was a singer and a dancer, and she kind of gave up her career for us kids. And then when she was 40, when we all became, got into high school and stuff, she went back into showbiz, and she danced until almost the day she died, doing fast kicks, highline kicks with a group called the Dancing Grandmas, little tiny sequin costumes like Vegas showgirls. They kicked butt.
Yeah. According to IMDb, you had a role in Deal of the Century.
Yes. Oh my God. And again, I was a dancing role, but it was Gregory Hines. He was my hero. I'm a tap dancer.
Yeah.
That movie was brilliant. So ahead of its time, honestly, about arms dealers and the world and marketing. But it was crazy. William Friedkin directed, and he was kind of crazy at the time. Chevy Chase was kind of crazy. Oh my God, Gregory Hines, my hero, my idol. He wasn't even dancing in the movie. He was just an actor he was an actor. He was a lead in the movie. And so I did the whole auditions, and I got the dancing part, and there was another choreographer, but when we're on set, we spent the week, I think, in Santa Barbara at an airport there. He's like, oh, this is silly. He's like, I'm going to choreograph it. I'm like, yes. So I'm sitting there, for days and days dancing with Gregory Hines.
Yeah, wow, that's cool. Yeah, he was brilliant.
Brilliant.
But yeah, that must have been a tension-filled set with Chevy and Billy Friedkin and Vince Edwards. I heard that all three of those guys had, adversarial personalities on movie sets,
Yeah, it was crazy.
Then you got to be on an episode of the reboot of Alfred Hitchcock Presents with Burt Reynolds directing. Wow.
Oh, you're good. Yes. Oh my gosh. And that was, every once in a while, because I did do a lot of different Universal shows. Some of them don't get credit for, but that was one of the, I forget what they called, not ego shows. One of those where all these stars would come in, and that day, movie actors didn't do TV. TV actors didn't do movie. There was a separation. That's not true anymore at all. With all the HBOs and cables, there's no separation of TV. But those days, those were specialty things like Martin Sheen and Robbie Benson and Parker Stevenson and Burt Reynolds directing. And I was really nervous because at that time, again, I'm young and still new, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so nervous because I'd done bigger parts in little things, but like B movies with nobody or little things, and I was so nervous. And Martin Sheen, who's just an angel of a man, he came up to me and he could obviously tell he was nervous. He's like, Patti, just have fun with this. It's not brain surgery. You know, you got 3 lines or whatever. You're the secretary. He goes, just have a blast. I'm like, oh, okay. And he just totally put me at ease. It's like he hypnotized me with his beautiful eyes.
Yeah, Mary Lou Henner's in it too. She can remember the day she was born.
Yes, I know. She has one of those memories. I used to sell her shoes on Melrose.
Really? Yeah, I've always said jokingly, you know, if I could fuck Mary Lou Henner, whether I was good or bad, she'd still remember it. Because she can remember everything that happens every day, 24/7.
Yeah, that's an amazing mind.
Yeah. Well, wow, that was a good cast. You got Robbie Benson, Parker Stevenson, Bernie Casey. Wow.
Yep. It was totally. I forget what they call that. It wasn't something with the word ego, but not ego. But it was a positive term. That. Yeah, I was lucky.
Yeah. Wow. Then you did Thunder Run. You're my second guest from that movie.
It was your what?
You're my second guest from that movie. I've talked to the female lead, Jill Whitlow.
Ah, that's funny. Yeah, that was a goofy movie. And we went out to I think we were somewhere near the Colorado River along like Lake Havasu or something.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yeah, she did that movie not even knowing that Forrest Tucker was such an iconic actor. She didn't see F Troop when she was growing up, and so it was kind of different for her, you know, and stuff. But she said it was an honor working with him.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun because those kind of locations, and again, it was a lower budget thing, are always fun.
Yeah, you did several episodes of Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. They're starting to play those a lot more too. I must say, I get my $3-4 checks all the time.
Yeah.
Residual. I'm going to get rich on it.
Anything stands out from any of those episodes?
No. I mean, just regular, very formula TV stuff. Always fun. I worked a lot of Universal shows, and again, not even all on IMDb. They weren't that good at that way back then. Way back in the 80s. But no, it was fun.
Was Don?
I have lots of different standout things, but that one didn't stand out.
Don Johnson well behaved at least?
Yeah, he was like the show that isn't on there that I worked of the non-behaving people was Chips.
Oh, tell me about that.
Well, I'll have to be careful. But
yeah.
That was in those beginning days, and when I do remember this one that I was again glorified extra, bikini girl on the beach, and I was supposed to be roller skating down past this actor. And he's supposed to run past me. Oh, his bike was stolen or something like that. Day player. And he must have been a method actor. So instead of running by me, he literally picked me up. I'm on skates. He picked me up and threw me in the air. I landed flat on the ground, hit my head, and was knocked out.
Yeah.
Knocked out at the beach at Santa Monica or Venice, wherever we were. I woke up with a crowd of people around me. Eric Estrada straddled over me, going, squishing my boobs, going, wake up.
Oh my God.
Filling me up. I'm like, again, I'm young. I'm like, hello. Oh my God. Hi. But they treated me really well on that. I think everybody was afraid of. I mean, that's way before Me Too days, but those were crazy days, I must say, in the 80s. But I think they gave me another role in the next film. They paid me SAG rates. They gave me really good drugs of the day. Crazy 80s. So I did that show a lot, but don't have a lot of credits there. Yeah, union paid, is it? So that show always stood out.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I've talked to quite a few people who worked on Chips, and they told me that that he wasn't that good of a guy. You know, I've seen like a biography thing on him and stuff. You know, he did that movie, the Crossing the Switchblade, where he's the Latino gang member. That was like his first movie, and he thought that it was going to break him out. You know, and he was going to do other things besides playing Latino gang members. But for like 7 years until Chips. That's all he did was play a Latino gang member. And then when he got on Chips, and it was this huge phenomenon, he had all these people around him telling him he was great, and he believed it. He believed his own publicity. It was a quite an interesting rise and fall.
Right, right. And I could see how it could happen. It's a weird town. It's a scary town. Your ego gets crushed. I actually ran, and he really wasn't so bad. It was just a different time.
Yeah.
Actually, his partner Larry was he was a lot less friendly and kind of a meanie.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I've heard interviews with him. He sounds like a great guy. Maybe he mellowed. Who knows? But
see, exactly. And
yeah.
I did something with Eric Estrada a couple years back before COVID. He is always the host of the Hollywood Christmas Parade, and I do the Hollywood Christmas Parade every year. I'm on the board of the Hollywood Arts Council, so we were at a party, a pre-party, a red carpet or something, and I just reminded him of it. You're not going to remember this, but our first meeting, again, I was unconscious, and you were feeling me up on the beach. He's like, oh, but he seems nice. I think, again, everybody grows up.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
How about making Ninja Academy?
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny. That was a little part. That was a goofy movie. Again, one of those chaotics, whatever they made of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't forget what I did in that. Oh, you're going way back. Way back.
That was Nico Masterakis. I've heard he could be combative on sets.
Yeah, I do. I don't remember him specifically being combative. I just remember chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Which could go hand in hand. Like, does anybody know what anybody's doing, kind of thing.
That could happen with low-budget films, yeah.
Yeah.
How about Dark Harvest?
Dark Harvest. That was really fun. That was a super low budget. Go out in the desert. Actually, they just came to me like 2 years ago, and somebody rebought it to re-release it, and we did a whole, 20 years later kind of thing. So if anybody buys it now, there's a modern interview with me that was really fun. I think I put it up on my YouTube page.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Harvest. Again, it was so low budget, but you get to be creative. And when you're a bunch of young actors, it's like, okay, I got to get killed by killer scarecrows. What can we make this blood with? Sadly, our special effects guy just walked off the set. All right, okay, Jell-O. Let's get some Jell-O. Let's do this. I think they had rented a house that we lived in Victorville, like the whole cast, the whole crew, in this goofy house that didn't have that much furniture, and however many girl leads, all trying to do makeup in one little mirror. It's fun when you're young and just getting started.
Yeah, I was reading that the actresses had to bring their own makeup. It was so low budget.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And believe me, that's not that uncommon.
Oh yeah, I mean, Rodney Dangerfield did a movie in 1970 that few people saw called The Projectionist, and he used to joke in interviews and say that the movie was so low budget, you went to location by a New York subway. Yeah.
And what's funny is now I've got so used to that. The shows I'm now, like Ghost Adventures, which I love, and it's fun, and it's not a low-budget show, but it's a boys' show. They don't have a makeup person there. You show up, and you're ready. And it doesn't matter, because that show we're mostly in the dark anyway, but, with the reality and docuseries and the kind of stuff I do, it's luxury when it's like, oh, there's a makeup trailer. Oh, yay, and there's a hair person.
Yeah. How about the Evil Inside Me?
Oh wow! Oh, that was one of the Paul movies, the Paul family movies, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did a few films with them. The very first one I did, I don't remember that one hardly at all, but the very first one I did was Michelle Pfeiffer's first movie too. She was the lead girl, and I was like the side girlfriend of the side actor. And I just remember staring at Michelle Pfeiffer and thinking she was the most beautiful girl I had ever seen in my life. I mean,
Yeah.
she still is, but she certainly was then. Again, we're both so young. And what was the name of it? I don't know. The Same as the Family. I did 2 or 3 films with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Roddy McDowell, George Lazenby, Rick Rossovich, Joe Pilato. Wow. The day that I decided I was going to reach out to Joe Pilato, he passed away, unfortunately.
One of my best. He was one of my best friends. He was my lead. My production company. I do murder mysteries too.
Yeah.
He's the best Columbo you ever did see.
Really?
He did. He was the lead in my shows for years and years and years. I remember we did a show for the real Columbo. It was like a roast, one of those big Hollywood roasts, and there was wrinkled trench coat to wrinkled trench coat, cigar to cigar, and our Joseph Pilato giving the real guy. It was the funniest thing. Oh my God, I get so many messages, Joseph Pilato. Because we would fly all over the place. He's a total white knuckle fly. They're scared to death to fly. We'd get in a plane like a Southwest, and he'd have to like he's pedaling a bicycle. So we'd all be in the back of the plane pedaling. Once we had an aborted takeoff, oh my God, I thought he was going to die. Oh my God, he's such a character. Once we had to take a helicopter to Catalina to do a show because we missed the boat or something, and Joseph Pilato in a helicopter when he's afraid of flying, that was fun. One of my favorite people. I miss him so bad. Poor guy. I remember at my wedding, he wore a tuxedo, no shirt, a bow tie, like a old Chippendales dancer, funny Jesus sandals, and then my husband and I did a pagan hand fasting where we literally did bloodletting into our chalice. And he's carrying it down, and he drank our wine. And then once he found it, we bled in and said, oh, my God. I love Joseph Pilato. I love that you brought him up. Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. I just wish I had reached out to him sooner. We would have had a lot to talk about. I mean, he was even Dean Martin in Pulp Fiction.
Yep, he was.
Yeah, I've talked to everyone from those George Romero zombie movies and stuff. Practically everyone. I love those.
Yeah, and Joseph was a super talented actor.
Mm-hmm, he was.
I mean, not that you could know that necessarily from all those or from playing Columbo, but just he really was a super actor.
He sure was. Yeah. So what made you want to, not act but focus on your gift as a psychic?
I think a couple things. Again, it just felt more right. With acting, it's always fun, and it gets fun to get to play somebody else. But my really passion, I just love people. And when I work with, whether it's one-on-one on people, or if I'm speaking at a college and it's 600 people, and even if I'm doing a mediumship, I'm talking to the dead or doing a seance, I just love people, and I see how much people give away their power. That's what I write about. And getting to focus on that into the TV realm, again, it gets to cross all my worlds. I get to be on set, and I get to go do things. I get to an audience I would never, ever get to with my positive messages, like humans are super people. We are like superheroes. We are. You guys, you don't have to be sick. You don't have to be anything. It's all easy if you just change your perception on things. So now I get to do that instead of just, one-on-one or teaching a workshop, which I teach 2 classes a week, or speaking at a thing. I get to do it to an audience who's watching The Bad Girls Club, or Nicole Richie, or Pip Boss, or Jeff Lewis, flipping out houses. I get to a whole other audience, and even if it's still a ridiculously silly show, I work a lot with the Awesomeness kids on those shows. It's getting to a whole new audience where, in a light and funny and comedic way, whether we're doing readings around the table with the teen kids from LA Story, I'm getting this positive message out to an audience that would never get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, over the years, I have come to realize a lot of people in general have telepathy and ESP, that they can, see things that other people can't see. My mother, for example, she's very good at talking to people about relationships with men. A couple of years ago, we went out to LA and we had lunch with a podcast guest of mine, and they started talking about the guy that she was seeing, and my mom just she gave her all this telepathy about the guy, and she was like, "Oh my God, how did you know that?" And and then pretty soon they're like talking, at least twice a week about her relationships with men. Yeah,
That's great.
it's
No, I
yeah.
think we are born with it. I mean, I was talking to dead people when I was a kid. I was knowing what plants and herbs did when I was a kid. It's in the blood. I think we are all born with it. But in our very non-mystical modern of Western society, even our religion isn't very mystical or magical,
Hmm.
It gets taught out of it. Oh, that's your imaginary friend. Oh, this is reality and this is that. So
Yeah.
some cultures have more mysticism, a lot of Eastern cultures, but we don't.
Did you open a fortune teller shop?
No, I never opened a fortune teller shop. No, never worked out of a shop. Never worked at all. I mean, I do work with private clients. I work from my home. In COVID days, I work from Zoom.
Right.
And I'm real picky, and I tell people what to do because sadly, a lot of the fortune teller shops, not the metaphysical stores where people are really tested and go into them, they usually have good readers.
Hmm.
But sadly, a lot of those fortune teller shops are just real scam artists. They try to control you. They get more money, and you have
Of
a
course.
curse attached, and blah blah blah. It's like, oh no, you don't have a curse attached. And really,
You.
nobody does so much. No, you don't need extra money. There's the upsell. I'm actually president of the American Federation of Certified Psychics and Mediums.
Hmm.
That years ago, this guy was going, oh my God, if anybody needs a professional organization, it's you guys. Doctors have them, plumbers have them, teachers have them, but you guys have, have such a big divide in what's in ethical people versus non-ethical people and good people versus not cool. So he started this thing.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I personally I've had two psychic encounters that were pretty trippy. Um, they didn't completely. I mean, they weren't completely accurate, but accurate enough. The first one, okay, so I had a car accident and I spent 30 days in a coma.
Wow.
That happened in January of 2015. In December of 2014, I was hanging out in my friend's Christian group. And there was this kid there. He was younger than me. I was like 31 at the time. He was like 24, 25. And he said he had this ability of doing readings, that he's channeling God, right? And so he tells me, so I tell him, about my situation. I was homeless at the time. My mother and I were both homeless. We were going through an awful lot of dark stuff in our life. And he did a reading in which he said that I was going to be a security guard in a prison, and that my mom and dad were going to get back together. Well, he was half right. During my accident and my recovery and stuff, my mom and dad did start talking again, but it was only a
Well,
temporary thing, though. It didn't happen.
yeah.
They didn't get back together, but it was a temporary thing.
A temporary thing, yeah. And
Yeah.
see, that's good. And I never, because I guess the witch side of me, I'm free will over fate and destiny. Like, you can't say anything is for sure. I'm not a prediction psychic. You can't say, okay, Tommy, when you walk out of the door, a bird is going to poop on your head. I am such a psychic. I know when you're going to walk out of the door. I know when the bird is going to fly over.
Yeah.
And I know when it's going to poop. It's going to poop on your head. I mean, a lot of psychics would say that. You're going to get pooped on. I would say, be careful on Tuesday. A bird could poop on your head. So why don't you put up an umbrella or go out the back door, and then the bird won't poop on your head. You're not going to hit it. So I don't hate people, because when people hear things, not like your parents getting together, but they start creating it and living into it. That's basic psychology. If you say you've got a curse, you start creating your own curse. If you say things like, "Ooh, you have bad luck over you," you start creating it.
Yeah. So do you believe that fate and destiny is just random? Nobody really knows what's going to happen in the future?
I think it's a dance. I think it's a dance between. There is certain things you can and can't control. You can't where you're born, who you are, how tall you are. There's certain things. This is whatever that is. You can't control things. Certain things you can control. Again, I'm a witch. There's shamans, there's healers, we can switch things, but there's certain things you can't change. But what you can always change, you can't change other people. You can't change the situation. But how you react to that situation changes everything. You can't change that person in front of you, but how you react to them, you change that, and guess what? Then they change. It's cause and effect. It's action and reaction. And if people just learn that, it's like, oh, I do control things. It's like the guy, the YouTube guy. There's a YouTube guy. He doesn't have any arms and he doesn't have any legs. He's a body and a head. He could be the most miserable person in the world. I mean, he couldn't go to the bathroom himself. He couldn't eat. He couldn't dress. He would be dead if he didn't have somebody 24/7 take care of him. He could be the biggest victim of life. He could be, oh, poor me, I don't have arms or legs. But instead, he's this motivational speaker. It's what he did with what he was given. He comes out on a skateboard and he inspires the world. He has a happy life, a full life, and it's what we do with what we're given. Some things we could change, some things we can't.
Yeah, I haven't seen that guy personally, but yeah, that's true. I mean, he could have a totally bad attitude about everything, though, but he chose to find the positivity of it.
Yeah, and that's, again, it's perception and attitude is everything. And that's what I get across to people. I don't care what your belief system is, your religion, if you don't believe in ghosts or don't believe in ghosts, if you believe in God or don't believe in God. We are amazing beings because we are these divine creatures, whatever that means, and we have free will.
I definitely believe in God and ghosts. I had sort of a ghost encounter first time I went to the Comedy Store in West Hollywood.
Ah, yes.
Back in 2016. I'd been a year in recovery from my accident, and I did stand-up comedy for 10 years in the Bay Area. And so I went to the Comedy Store on a Monday potluck night, and I just could feel the presence of dead comedians in the room. That was so surreal. And I thought I saw some debris coming from one of the red neon lights that was inside the club.
Yeah, that place is crazy haunted. Ghost Adventures, my show just did a thing there. I did a show there every Sunday. Again, back in those improv and sketch days. I was, my little group were called the Kamikazes, and we were there every week. Pauly Shore and I, my group took turns opening for each other. He'd open one Sunday, we'd open the next. When he was just a kid. It was, that place is really haunted.
Wow, I didn't even realize you did that. That's so cool.
Yep, I did that. I have been here a long time, and a group called the Kamikazes.
Wow.
I was a regular at the Comedy Store. I was regular at the Laugh Factory. I was a regular at Ice House, which I don't know if exists anymore. Igby's Comic Cabaret. We were probably, at that same 80s time, the longest-lasting comedy sketch group that didn't get famous in the world. we dressed in these matching outfits, kind of like, and our shirts, we had the Japanese sun on them, and they literally said, "Laugh or we'll kill ourselves," in Japanese. We had this little precision. We were pretty funny. I played the Ice House that same week, so it was still around when I was doing it. That's cool that your comedy. I love that.
Yeah, I haven't done it much since I moved up to Reading because it's there's no show business out here really, and there's a lot of political correctness in comedy that kind of got me canceled out in the Bay Area and stuff. It's just.
Aww.
It's terrible, But, so that second psychic encounter I had, my friend Amanda, she does tarot readings, and I went down to the Bay Area in December of 2019 to have lunch with her, and she gave me a tarot reading, and she's one of my biggest supporters. We want to do a horror hosting show together, that we were planning that until quarantine happened, and she gave me a tarot reading, and I was going through a lot. My mother's been struggling with substance abuse for a while now, and she said in the tarot reading that I needed to focus on myself and not worry about my mother, or else I was going to die. And so I started dieting. I fell off the diet once quarantine happened. I became super depressed, and now I'm back on the diet.
Yay, good.
But my mother, she had an accident last summer. She broke her neck while she was under the influence. and they said that she wasn't going to walk again, she wasn't going to function, and now she can, and she just drove today for the first time since then.
That is awesome.
It's a miracle. Yes.
Yeah.
A miracle.
That is good. And miracles happen all the time.
They do. I mean, they said I wasn't going to live and I wasn't going to walk again, and I did.
Yep. And I should get you a copy of my book. In my book, I'm supposed to be dead. My mom took a drug when she was pregnant with me that when I hit puberty or didn't hit puberty right, all these female problems. So by the time I was 30, they said I had all the precancerous stuff that a DES daughter could get. I had a tumor in my brain. I had 5 fractures in my back because I never got a period. I never got and so that's when I went, nope, I'm not going to buy any of this. And I got everything to go away. So at hitting 50, instead of being dead or in a wheelchair, as was the prognosis and diagnosis, I beat 100,000 people to try on to do that TV show Wipeout. And I did the world's largest obstacle course where you did have to go through physical testing and psychological testing. And that's my new challenge these days is trying out for things with undoable odds.
You literally never had a period?
Nope. At 15, 16, I got menopause, which is, when you're that age, I got hot flashes, which is not good when you're just getting into your womanhood, and then you're not, and then you can't have babies, and It's a drug they gave in the 50s, 60s, and even a little bit in the early 70s called diethylstilbestrol. They thought at first that it prevented miscarriages, but they knew from 1955 that it didn't work for that. But they kept giving it anyway for decades because it was the first big pharma moneymaker. I have magazines that say, give your baby this, take this to have a strong, healthy baby. And they didn't know it hurt you, but they knew it didn't help you. But then when we started hitting puberty, we didn't. Girls and then boys, too, were dropping like flies of cancer is never seen in anybody, under 80 and all this stuff. But,
right.
Yeah.
Wow, I should have asked you to be my Valentine yesterday.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Yes, I actually, a guest of mine texted me and asked me to be her Valentine, and I said yes. And then I didn't hear from her for the rest of the day, and I was really, really sad. I was hoping I was hoping
I'll be your day after Valentine.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd have a conversation, maybe even have some phone sex that I would never tell anybody about.
That's funny. Now, my husband will get mad about that one. But you'll be my Valentine anyway.
Okay. So I'm sure, being a psychic, though, you get a lot of skeptics.
Yeah, I love skeptics. I don't have an issue with that. It is not my job to convince anybody about anything. My grandfather was this very famous Patti Negri psychoanalyst, Hollywood set, hung out with, very academic. He came from Turkey. He was a doctor. He had a school of psychoanalysis. He wrote books on religion and sex, and he was way ahead of his time. And he thought anything of religion or spirituality was a weakness in itself. He wrote books, The Creator and the Created, Sexual Analysis in You. And he hung out with Isaac Asimov, and, he did hang out with Carl Sagan, who was a believer, but Steve Allen was his best friend, Norman Lear, all these academics.
Wow.
But I read his books now, and it's like, oh, Grandpa, you sort of believe the same thing I do, but you just came in the opposite door and you use different words. So you use science words and use academic words. You don't use religious words. You don't use spiritual words. You don't use pagan words. But if you look at the through line everywhere else, it's just fine.
Yeah.
And that's where I go to. I don't care what words you use. You look at the truth line, and I think that's where a lot of religions get in trouble because they go, this has to be fact or this really happened. It doesn't matter. It's the story behind it.
Yeah. I get a lot of skeptics too, you observed earlier just how good I am when it comes to the research part. I interview a lot of older people who've never heard of me, and so they sound very reluctant to talk to me until I just show them, how good I am at research, and then they kind of perk up and stuff, That's how the skeptics can be, and that's how it can be a good thing at some point.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing. And again, on the psychic, magical, mystical world, I'm fine. Just be respectful. If you're sitting at my seance table, if we're doing investigation together, you're here. So just be open. But whether you're open or not, be respectful, because that's when what happens. You know, if you're disrespectful is when, you know, people burst into flames or things happen. Literally. So it's like, all right. So, but if you don't want to believe, that's okay. I am not anyone to convince you. But boy, the skeptics fall the hardest.
They are, yeah.
They do.
So yeah, there's this secret silly game that I like to play with my guests. It's a series of silly slumber party questions, and how this works is, I ask you the question, you answer it, and then you ask me the exact same question, and I answer it.
Okay.
And you can comment on answers.
Okay.
Patti, are you ticklish?
I am very ticklish. Tommy, are you ticklish?
Oh, yes, I'm baby ticklish. I've been known to hit people in the groin when they tickle me. Yeah.
Good.
Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
My belly button's an innie. What's yours?
It's an innie. What color are your toenails painted?
My toenails are naked right now because I haven't had a manicure or pedicure since this damn COVID hit. What color are your toenails painted, Tommy?
Right now, they are au naturel.
Ah, you're naked too.
Yeah. Last time they were painted, they were purple with sparkles. And
nice.
I usually give them bright colors when I go out to visit people in LA and stuff, and I always get compliments from it all week long or all weekend long.
Nice. I usually wear deep reds as a rule, but not lately.
Yeah. What would you say is your best personality trait?
I think my best personality trait is my honest optimism. What's yours?
My empathy, and that I have no filter.
Ah, that's a good one, yeah.
Yeah. And then my favorite one, is there a stinky smell that just makes you gag?
Let me see, a stinky smell that just makes me... There is, but I can't even think of what it is. I'm picturing myself having it, but off the head, I can't even... It's something putrid. I think that's common. It's not like, you know, like some people love patchouli, hate patchouli. There's nothing like that some people like and don't like. And I'm sure it's some dark and dirty smell of some sort. But I can't remember. You stumped me. What's your smell, Tommy?
Either farts or feet.
Ah, farts or feet. Yeah, the F words. Huh.
Yeah, I interviewed this great acting teacher named Kate McGregor Stewart, and she told me that should be the name of my memoir, Farts and Feet.
It is a good one.
I don't think I would call the book that, but I would definitely put it as a review blurb on the back.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I am writing a book, by the way. I'm writing a book about my love of cult films, and it's all short essays of what they mean to me individually, where I was at that point in time. I talk about my accident, you know, I give a little mini bio of all the adversity I've been through and stuff, and then get right into the essays and stuff. And I got very emotional writing a chapter last night about a mutual friend of ours, Terry Bolo.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you know Terry from improv?
I think so. Going way back, yes.
Yeah, she's been one of my biggest supporters since I started this podcast. Every time I message her and say, "Hey, want a podcast?" She's there, and we always have a good time. Our private conversations are even more entertaining. But I adore her. I adore her a great deal. And as also, you know Deborah Lamb.
I know the name. I can't remember.
Yeah, she does psychic readings too.
Oh, okay.
I think she does.
My brain is very crowded, so yeah. So that's why it sounds familiar. So yes.
Yeah, I think she does tarot. I think she does tarot readings or something like that. Yeah, she's a lot of fun. I have a couple jokes for you.
Okay.
You know the difference between a golf ball and a G-spot?
No, I don't know the difference. Tell me.
A man will spend 20 minutes looking for a golf ball.
That's a good one.
Yeah. What did the elephant say to the naked man?
I don't know what.
Man, how can you breathe through that thing?
That's a good one too.
Why don't men like to marry virgins?
I don't know why.
Because they can't stand criticism.
I don't get it.
Okay, if the girl's losing her virginity to this guy, right? She doesn't know what it's like to have sex previously as to whether or not he's good or not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I like the other two better.
Okay.
This one, I have to think too hard. It's not good.
I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to come off as sexist or anything.
No,
with
I
that.
didn't. I'm way beyond that. No, I didn't come across it. But if I don't get the joke right away, if,
Oh, okay. Because we live in this age now where you say the slightest thing, people start judging you. They think that you are sexist or racist or any of that stuff, and you got to explain to them over and over again. It's.
oh yeah, no, I get that. I'm not there. Because remember, I'm a witch. I'm a vampire. I live in Hollywood. Judgment is. I'm not worried about what people think.
Yeah, that's what I like about you, Patty, and I'm glad you could come on today. And you're a very special lady. I thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This was really fun. You are a great host.
Oh,
Again, you did your homework, but besides that, you're a great host, and I got to talk about stuff that most people don't care about. So that was great. It was like a trip down memory lane. So thank you.
oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Yes. Well, you stay safe and have a great rest of your day.
You too. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Well, there you have it. Patti Negri. Ain't she a sweetheart? Oh, what a great lady. And she can predict and see all. She can talk to the dead. She can do it all. She is amazing. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes.